1, 2, I think we're live. We are indeed. Hey folks, how's it going? It's Wednesday. Time to do some game dev related items in Blender. So probably flicking back and forth between Blender and Unity. So today, going to be doing a little bit of Blender work and probably jumping into Unity. But I think we've got a lot of things we can do in Unity now, so we'll probably be looking at that today. There's one or two more things I want to do in Blender, especially as Halloween is tomorrow. I thought, you know, as a Halloween themed thing, we'll try and make a pumpkin in Blender. It's not too complicated, but it's just another kind of experiment and test of skill to do something mildly spherical. I can do squared objects, okay, but I just want to do something a little bit different. Just gotta grab up a tutorial that I found, because that made it look really simple, and of course from the tutorial I can expand it and do my own thing a bit. But there's some very useful kind of tool tips within this tutorial that I found very useful. Sort this list by, there we go, there's a tutorial. An error has occurred and I can't actually play it. No, I hate any website that sort of loads half the content and then drop, especially with media controls. Like YouTube's horrendous for this, where it loads to the controls. Shush, stop. So I have to mute the whole page because this is getting annoying now. Mute YouTube, right. Yeah, it loads. You load the control, you see the control, it's on the screen for about 2 or 3 seconds. You go to click the control and then it decides to load everything else. Yeah, that's oh. Okay, YouTube's having a bad time. It's just kind of powering through my playlist as opposed to actually playing anything, which is rather annoying. Let's close that. Let's open up my playlist again. Now maybe if I can open just that video without the playlist. Stop playing, grab the video, play that on just that. I want it without the playlist. Excellent, I think this will work. Maybe playlists are broken on YouTube, so that's something to keep in mind if you want to watch a playlist on YouTube right now. Be aware, it might decide to play you 2 seconds of every video in your playlist, which is not good, obviously. Move that to the screen so I can see the chat, see my OBS. As that is muted. I think YouTube's generally having problems. I might have to check Down Detector because something's not happy. I'm sure it's not my internet. So I've got pretty decent upspeed right now. Let's have a look at Down Detector. Down Detector UK. There is a spike in YouTube. Okay, maybe YouTube is having problems. There's definitely a spike of reports So apologies if you are watching me on YouTube, or if you want to watch me on YouTube and you can't do so. There appears to be server issues. Hopefully it holds out for me to speed run this tutorial, because I do want to learn how to make this pumpkin. I've watched this through once before. Let's move this over to that screen. Right, switch over to the main screen, show you guys what I'm looking at. Boom, there we are. So we have our cube. We want to delete our cube. Where's my delete key on this keyboard? There it is. Need to add a mesh circle, because we're building from the ground up, according to this tutorial at the very least. So what they're saying there, so you add the circle, and then tab to subdivide, then select checker deselect. So select checker deselect. So that selects every other point, every other vertex on there. And S to scale. That brings it in a little bit. Don't want to be pronounced as it is on the tutorial. I only need it in slightly to kind of give the pumpkin ridges. I'm guessing it's A and then Z. Okay. A, select all, Z. Not Z. It's E to exclude. Not sure where the Z came in. Oh, Z is just to lock it. Gotcha. E to extrude. Z to lock to Z axis. And probably about that high, looking at it. So we've got our cookie cutter looking shape at the moment. Make sure we have the, let's go back. See what the, which one's that one again? Edge select, select an edge. Control R, fix it. Control R. Control R when you're clicking on YouTube obviously refreshes. That's not what I wanted. Need to be on Blender. Control R. So that kind of fixes that in place. Select a line, control it by pressing the right click scale. Okay. Pressing the right click S to scale. Okay, let's try to see them. So Control R. No, that's not what we wanted. Okay, so Control R. There's an S to scale on there. By pressing the right click, scale. Hey Max, how's it going, dude? Hope you're well. It's good to see you indeed. Control, select the line color, and then by pressing the right click S to scale. Well, we just got to quickly and easily S to scale that. Ah, okay. Awesome. We've scaled it out. Doing good. Thanks, buddy. Awesome. Sorry I missed your call again the other day. I think I was driving when you rang. I thought I don't want to pick it up. I'll message you later. And of course, no me. Didn't remember to message you later. I always seem to be on the road or somewhere. Looking forward to your birthday though. Haven't been to Turtle Bay for ages. Been a long time. What am I missing here? Control R again. So what's going on here then? I believe I'm following the tutorial. Take it back. Need to ask you something, dude. Are you free on Saturday, 16th of November? I'd like to join Worcester. Ooh, 16th. Let's have a look. 16th, I'm sadly not. Going down to Milton Keynes. Otherwise I would. So I missed the last show, didn't I? Sadly busy again. Going to see Cheltenham Town played Milton Keynes Dons. It was a good time last time they played last season. Despite the Milton Keynes Dons Stadium looking as sombre as ever. It's basically the most greyish concrete looking football stadium you ever come across. What am I doing wrong here then? It's basically loop cut, isn't it? But why does it just not want to loop cut? No, possibly loads more card shows we can do. Awesome. Yeah, I'd like to go. Just, my schedule is forever busy. But yeah, so November's unfortunately busy. I thought November might be quiet, but so many things happening in November. Why does that have back on it? What's that about? I put a sticker on the 19th of October that just says back. What back? Must have misclicked on my calendar. Yes, October was reasonably busy. Unfortunate with December, I got my Christmas party for work and a DJ gig. But otherwise, December's looking fairly relaxed. But I'm sure that would change. Control R to subdivide. So it is a subdivide. Greetings, bearded redcoat. Hey Jeffrey, how's it going, dude? It's good to see you. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. Gotta be right back immediately, but it won't be long. Okie dokie, do your thing. Loop cut and slide. Have fun making that Ferrero Rocher wrapper. Ooh, that'd be fun. So it's gonna be a pumpkin. But Ferrero Rocher wrapper sounds even tastier. Ah, nice. Nice indeed. I'll be right back, okie dokie. See you shortly. There's this tutorial, it's 3 minutes long and the guy speed runs through it. Oh, today again. Right. Fast forward back to that part of the video. So select Control so it's only subdividing on the one line. Why is it not doing the whole thing? So it only seems to subdivide the line. So even by loop cut, it's not loop cutting. So I'd be happy to do that. So I can loop cut it like that. But why once I expand it out, does it not want to do so? There you go. Got there in the end. G and C. Alt click. Okay. It's not quite what we wanted. E. Move it down. slowly picking up stuff as we go here. So it's E and S. Then G and Z. We're getting there now. And E and S. And G and Z. E and S. And G and Z, and bring it in a little bit. E and S. E and Z. And F. A few subdivides in there, and probably need to do the same down here. E and S. G and Z. And E and S. And just F to fill it in. Cool, we're kind of a pumpkin shape then. Where do they follow the tutorial in? So they started in setting it a little bit before I did. But all pumpkins are unique. Okay, yeah, so they've pretty much done all the things that I've done. Now it's hard to see it on that screen, so what I'm going to have to do is bring it over here. Let's bring everything back up, because now I've minimized everything. There we go. So what do they do to a nice easy way to bend the stalk of the pumpkin? Swing up here. proportional editing, proportional edit mode. Okay. How do we scale that down? OK, down, select the line. Okay. Kind of something along those lines. I had to talk to my father about some things, including the Ajax game from just now. Ooh, okay. You can see this. Welcome back, by the way. So this looks a little bit more like a pumpkin. I'll put the link to this tutorial if anyone's interested. So we want, so 8 select all, I think. So shape, or we need finish off is add. Finish off is the spanner around the shadow modifier divide surface. It's a spanner, yeah. Shadow modifier subdivide surface. Up to 2, okay. Up to 2 shades smooth, and then just to finish this off, I'm going to add 2 colours onto it. So is it okay? So clicks on that. Okay, then it's middle click. No. Object context menu. We're back in object mode at this point. Okay. Shade smooth. Okay, that kind of looks like a pumpkin. So what was it now? Adding colour. So put a full screen. I'll see what's going on here. That's the quality. Qualities. Oh, let's put up to HD so I can actually see what he's clicking on here. So smooths it, selects the object. Goes back into edit mode. Then we're going to materials. Add new material. Base colour needs like a pumpkin orange. I'll call that orange. Can you spell orange? Orange. Cool, we now have an orange pumpkin. Then we want to add another colour. Make that a new one, call it green. And change the base colour to like a darkish green. Select the top face. Looking cool, it is indeed. Still got line selected on. Select top face plus plus. Hey Nix. Hope you're doing a little bit better at least. Thank you for the hat. It's a plus plus. That's the problem of having a miniature keyboard. I don't really have the keys where I should have the keys. I could do with a numpad. I do have a numpad. Where did I put the numpad? 2 secs. Let's grab the numpad if I can find it. Not sure where I'm wearing the headphones because there's nothing coming through those yet. 2 secs. I'll grab my numpad. Right. Now I have a plus key. Find some music to listen to. See, I'm hitting plus key, but it's not doing anything on the plus key either. So it's not just that. Let's unmute YouTube. Make sure that video is muted. Cool. Got a little bit of music in the background. Should we barely audible, which is what we want. So select the top face. Well, that kind of works. That's mainly working on the dissecting the old, dissecting the old Mac, by the way. So a bit quiet. That's all good. Dissect away. Got to be surgical about it. We don't want to pierce the ion battery. No, there'll be reports of a small explosion in the countryside of the Netherlands, as a gentleman was attempting to dismantle the Mac. Is it Control plus plus? So that's why the closed captions don't always tell the full story. Control plus plus. No? Okay, that doesn't even work either. There we go. That's what we wanted. Then select the green and assign the colour. What we do is shrinking that a little bit. So scale that. There we go. Scale that a little bit more. Where's the modifier? Cool. Let's put the modifier back on. So we can just kind of ease some of these lines a little bit. It's looking a bit more of a pumpkin shape now. So that's basically where the tutorial ends. It's kind of like, well, that's your pumpkin. Maybe the green could be slightly better. So Ron, welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. Ever had one explode? I've not actually had a battery explode before. It's something close with an old, my old Samsung S2 phone. It didn't explode, but with the old, as you might be aware of, the old mobile phones, you could take the batteries out. You can take the back off, take the battery out. My old Samsung S2, I bought third-party replacement battery, so I could charge one and swap it out, which is unfortunately something you can't do these days. But eventually, my original Samsung battery that came with the S2 started to inflate. Got the typical danger pillow, because it's supposed to be like a thin battery, but it just inflated. And I kind of put that somewhere away from the phone and kept using the third party one. The third party one had a higher capacity and didn't inflate, and that kept going until I decided to swap the phone out. In fact, do I still have the phone here? What's that one? That's my S7. Sure, I had it in here. Maybe in another drawer. Not going to do that now. Most of these screws are rotten. Need to drill them out, but not going to do that because I need daylight. That's fair. Oh, my old sat nav in here. I just basically keep all my old technology. That's my old TomTom sat nav. Don't throw anything away. Oh, they're all blimey, I still got it. I still have the battery. There it is. You can probably, I'm not sure if it comes through on the stream, but that battery is a lot thicker than it should be. Now, what you do not want to do is pierce that with a sharp object. In fact, I probably should have got rid of this a long time ago. But I still have this. That is solid. I probably should. That is probably an explosion waiting to happen. I'm sure Nix would not be happy to know that's a few inches from my head where we sleep. But it's there. Oh, a pencil sharpener. I need to clear these drawers out. I keep all my interesting little things from the past. But an old Nokia charger there, when they still had the little pins. But yeah, need to pull all that out because there's bound to be some junk in there. Well, not bound to be. There is junk in there. There is junk. Yeah, switch back over. But yeah, so that's the closest I've come to having a battery explode, is the one I had just there. Let's put that sat nav in there. To my knowledge, that sat nav still works. Just it does not have any battery to it whatsoever. So the moment the power is removed, it dies. So it's not good. And I think it was crashing a few times. But you can, if you could actually get around to formatting and reusing old sat-nav devices, they'll get much more life out of them. Now, question is, do we try and carve this pumpkin now? I've had one of my litho batteries for my RC car explode on me before. It's like a bloody rocket going off. Oh wow! Yeah, the litho batteries are dodgy on RC cars. Not or lipo. Yeah, those ones I know not great because they use them in a lot of larger electronics. Those type of batteries. Is it the same type of battery that are in the so-called hoverboards? The hands-free segways, as they should really be called. Because I know those kept catching fire. I think they are, yeah. So they banned them from flights. You can't take those hoverboards on airplanes for that reason. Thought I got a call back in my country. Oh wow. Thankfully you don't see them anymore. They've become a huge thing and then disappeared, which I'm quite happy about. They're pretty cool, I suppose, in their own way, but they got too out of hand. But they are just segways. My country, all the cool kids have fat bikes. Ooh. A fat bike's like the big framed, big wheeled bikes. Are they like low rider ones? They're the ones I'm thinking of. That's why I use LiPo bag now when I'm charging. Ah, cool. Yeah, they're like electric mountain bikes. Ah, cool. Okay. Yeah, good plan, Max. I'm just thinking that Max might know what I'm talking about. So they had like a stall at the drag racing that did the like big bikes, but I don't think they're electric. Those are quite cool bikes. But yeah, I remember sort of when I was younger, mountain bikes were all the craze, and sort of everyone had a mountain bike. Right, let's save this project because I want to try carving this. So let's call this pumpkin. Save this pumpkin. That's why they're popular. They can go as fast as a moped. Ooh, or motor scooter. Yeah, mopeds. I think that's how you spell moped. You can hit 35 kilometers an hour, but need no license. Yeah, dangerous stuff. A lot of accidents with them. I bet. We have the electronic scooter issue. So like your typical kind of like push along scooter. I know they're big in a lot of cities, the electric scooters. But they're not legal to own personally. Well, not legal to ride personally, should I say. Yeah, same here. They outlawed now, but kids still have them, yeah. Like, we have a weird kind of thing with the law that because they have a motor in them, like a powered motor, and they can travel over a certain speed. In order to use them in a public place, you need to have have insurance. Have like road insurance to. It's a motor vehicle. They have to be treated like a motor vehicle, like a car or a motorbike or something, because they are motorized. But you can't get insurance for them. So they need to be insured, but you cannot insure them as a personal. Like, I can't buy one and insure it, but if a company buys many, they can insure them and then rent them. But you can't insure your own, because there's not really any options for personal insurance. Until there are, then you can't own. We can own them, but you can't use them. So it's a bit of a weird one. Okay, yeah. Cool. I don't think I've seen that exact design. I've seen something similar. But yeah, they are just basically a go between a push bike and a small motorbike, because the wheels are bigger, but then the frame is still the same size as a regular bike. It's quite weird. Yeah, I can imagine, kids running around on those kind of things. By law, it's bicycle, since Dutch law has no difference between bicycle with or without electric motor. Yeah, I think we have something similar, that if you can operate it with pedals, like if you don't need the motor, then it's still a bicycle. Because it's like motor assisted as opposed to a motor only. But as soon as you take the pedals away from it, and it can only be operated with a motor, it becomes a motor vehicle. So it's the fact the pedals are still on it which keeps it a bicycle. 13-year-olds kill themselves in traffic all day, every day now. Oh no. Yeah, there's been accidents with the motorised scooters. So yeah, that's not good. It's like, and there's been a lot of near accidents, like people on motorised scooters hitting pedestrians because they ride on the pavement where people are walking, and they were hitting into people, and yeah, sort of cause a lot of harm. But they're not allowed on the pavement or the road because they don't have insurance. But if you do have a rented one in a city, you're fine because the insurance is covered and they don't go too fast. So I remember going to, was it San Antonio in Texas? They had them in San Antonio. And that was quite cool. I had a quick go on one. It's like, ooh. But it has like a little, you have to download an app and scan a barcode, and then you pay for like per hour. And as soon as your hour is up, the bike locks and you can't move it. Obviously it warns you beforehand, so you just go oof and go over. Problem with those motorised scooters is the wheels, in my opinion. I borrowed one from someone here for fun, and has a speed of a moped but the wheels of a kid scooter, so if you bump into the smallest 10cm bump, you fall. No down stability, at least a bicycle wheel can climb a bit. Scooter just has crashes. Yeah, they're not great. They're great on perfectly flat surfaces, but yeah, like cities where they got a lot of flat surfaces, brilliant. Towns where you could trip over while walking, which is very much, unfortunately, a lot of British towns. Yeah, just not good. But yeah, the one in San Antonio, the streets were pretty flat, and it was quite cool to ride around on there. And you can just park it wherever, and the company knows where they are by GPS. I think I've got a video somewhere of us playing around on one, like my American friends and I. Lots of fun. Right, so go back into edit mode. Turn off the modifier for the moment. Really liked, never really liked scooters much. I preferred skateboards. Yeah. Yeah, as I said before, I would have loved to be a skater kid when I was younger. But yeah, I only ever had to go on one skateboard, and it was so loose it's very hard to stand on it. It rocked. I know skateboard's supposed to rock a little bit, but this rocked a lot. So if I had my own, I'll probably have it a bit tighter. Hi, Salamotes. Hey, Lisa. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. Sell nudes. We have no need for emotes or nudes around here. You keep your nudes to yourself. New Mac drained me by nudes. Help me out. Yeah, I need to have a Cold Hikikomori OnlyFans. My Wednesday was alright. Still sick. IX1, so that's good. Yay! That's good at IX1. Do you see the news about Ten Hag? So I think we're sending him back. How's yours? My Wednesday's been pretty good indeed. Hey, thank you for that sub on YouTube, Boris. Much appreciated. I hope you're having a good Wednesday, Boris. We heard, not just a win, we beat the arch enemy in their own house. Nice. It's good to hear. I read now pronounce his name like his parents do. Is it Ten Hag? Hag. Hag. I haven't got the saliva for that today. I need to have a drink. Ten Hag. Hag. Yes. Getting close. No, it's a longer sound and a hag, hag, hag. I mean, it's just as well, but Manchester is not using them anymore. It's weird how that one particular sound is almost only used in Arabic and Hebrew language. Yeah, it is, isn't it? So, hi, how's it going? Oh, can't pronounce that. I'm trying to pronounce Dutch and that's hard enough. But welcome into the stream. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. Dutch randomly use it here and there in our piece of Europe. Yeah, I suppose there's a lot of languages that use that sound, but it's one that English is never really borrowed in. Yeah, I want it to be different, of course. What game am I making? I am making a game that hasn't got a name as such. It's got a couple of names that I've played with. But it's a game about throwing objects at castles. So I'm making objects to throw at the castles at the moment. And you just keep throwing the object until the castle falls down. Germans don't use it either, neither do the Belgians, really. Yeah, Belgians speak French for the most part, don't they? I would have thought the Germans would have that sound, but they have aggression in other parts of their language. English also wants to be different with pineapple, yeah. But the whole world calls them an ananas. Ananas? We decided to, you know what? It's kind of like an apple, but pine cone like. So we shall call it the pineapple. Only language that doesn't call it the same thing. I can, what we could probably do, is reload up Unity and show the game I'm working on. And we can probably drop this pumpkin into it. But yeah, the British English kind of language is the mix of the original Anglo kind of language and the French language. So French to us doesn't seem too foreign in some ways. It's like, well, we borrowed a lot of French words. It's just probably not many English people know how to pronounce it in French. They just pronounce it in English, but spelt the French way. Probably people didn't realise it's like gâteau. And it's not spelt anything like gâteau. If you spell it in English, so pronounce it in English, should be gâteaux. But the UX sound is an O. But I do like gâteau. Especially chocolate. There's Unity loading up. Oh yeah, we were playing with blend trees, weren't we, before? Right, there we go, there's the game. So we have a castle or stately house, as represented by this one over here. We have a trebuchet that we are working on. That actually moves. And we have objects that we're throwing, and at the moment they don't link up. Let's play the game a little bit. I've played around with the camera, so the camera's a little bit higher for the moment, so we can actually see the trebuchet. The trebuchet is another obviously French word. And a currently selected item of choice is a plushie panda bear. But we can bring in the pumpkin we've just made. And I still want to use this generated wall over here because it's pretty cool that you can just knock down bricks like that. We use the exact same word for trebuchet. Yeah, it's got to be French because the T's silent and the J. The CH J sound. I suppose the French kind of pioneered the use of a trebuchet. They get to name it. Right, so we bring in the pumpkin.
Epic.
Pumpkin is very epic, by the way. Thank you.
Epic.
There is the pumpkin. Oh, I forgot to take the lighting off it. We'll put. It's a pretty big pumpkin. It's an luminous pumpkin as well. Look at that. Delete the light. Oh. Delete the light. Delete the camera. It seems to be half a pumpkin. What's happened to the other half of the pumpkin? Well, hello. Hi there, T-Man. How's it going? Looks like normal's inverted, yeah. I think the whole pumpkin's there, but somehow managed to invert the normals. Which is quite a talent, I suppose. How's it going, Novo Dantis? Good to have you here. Welcome in. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. So what we'll do is we'll see. Oh yeah, the whole thing is it's back to front. It's inside out. Name is Paul. Is also used in Dutch, but we pronounce different. Want to know how to pronounce name in Dutch? Yeah, go for it. What's this game about? So this game is about throwing things at castles. So we'll leave our inverted pumpkin there for the moment. Powell. Is that Powell? Looks good though for an inverted pumpkin. Basic premise is we're throwing stuff at this. Angry Birds like a game, like it exactly, T-Man. You've got it. Apart from at the moment, this house is pretty solid. I did toy with the whole kind of destructive element, which is why this bit's over here. I don't know where to implement that, if I will, but I've written the code for that at least. Yes, that would be the closest way, the Dutch way of pronouncing it. Awesome. I've seen people with that spelling of the name. All good, easy to do. I often sculpt with backface coal turned on in Blender, or else you can be modelling inverted without realising. I'll probably do something silly, Nova. Like I followed a tutorial that just says to make the pumpkin, make a circle, and then extrude up, and then close the top and the bottom, basically. So I assumed all the faces are outward, but clearly something's gone wrong in the process. I think you should go for world domination and scrap all languages and communication. Just randomly yell sounds. I feel we're getting that way in some ways. Or we just communicate through emojis. Right. Right, we'll go back to Blender. I had a math teacher that said the only real universal language is math. True. Even I forgot that was on there. Yeah, math is universal. Even extraterrestrials would understand math. When applied to that, love is also universal language. He called me a hippie. I suppose there's got to be a world where math and love can coexist. So this is our pumpkin. I've turned off the modifier. Where is it? Smoothing modifier. Go to object. There we go. So it all looks nice and smooth there, but we We seem to have the normals flipped, it seems then. So, edit display modifier in edit mode. Okay, yeah, cool. That's what I turned off. So I want to edit it while it's still got the modifier. So what have I done then to... No yelling or just dance. We should communicate with experimental dance moves. That would be fun. Yep, fix in Blender, select all faces, edit mode, then mesh normals flip. Mesh normals flip. Mesh normals flip. Hey buddy, how's the game coming along? How's it going, Key? It's good to see you. I keep seeing you going live, but I'm never near a computer when I get the notifications on my phone, but yeah, I never get the chance. But I'm doing good, doing good. How are you? Game's coming along nicely. At least this game. I've got this game, which this is still my try it and see game, and I'm actually documenting something bigger to work on in the future. But this one's coming along nicely. If I bring up Unity, we still have the sort of the basics in here. Regaining bits slowly. I've got the animator in place for the trebuchet now. I just need to code it in, so the player kind of activates the animation with the trebuchet. Replace the camera on this invisible thing to the trebuchet, and then somehow drop the item you're throwing onto it and have the whole thing connect, which have not quite worked out. Possibly linking the two objects until the point of release and then allow physics to take over. I've not quite worked that bit out yet. That's going to be trial now. But we've we lost panda. I made this panda that I'm throwing in Blender based off purely by eye. So I've got a plushie. He's under a load of clothes over there, but I made a plushie panda purely from physical reference. So he is basically a panda I physically own, which is quite cool. No worries, that usually weekends so people are busy. Yeah, doing good, thank you, awesome. Never got on with Blender, asset stores my friends. Yeah, like everything you see here, apart from this inverted pumpkin and the panda, I've purchased. But yeah, the panda I've made, the pumpkin I made about an hour ago. But yeah, the normals need to be flipped, which should hopefully be done by now. You can call back faces to check using that little arrow top right below the blue button with the circle. Let's minimize Unity. Top right below the blue button with the circle. Is it up here? Top right, blue button, and circle. Angry pandas. Yeah, yeah. I could. I don't know. I still don't, because obviously I can't do angry birds. I thought about angry bards and make it medieval, but there is an angry bard game. But whether I just make another game with the same name, I don't know. Solid circle first. Cool. But yeah, I did think about angry bards and just have a bard throwing things at a nobleman's house, castle. Then the arrow. My makeup finally shipped to me. I hope to test it before tomorrow's stream. But this will be arriving before performance. That's good. Yeah, maybe add the panda as an Easter egg. Yeah. I want to do Easter eggs, T-Man. So I've got a few random objects at the moment, like a rock, a barrel, a crate, a chair. The things that you naturally would have access to in a medieval setting. The panda and the pumpkin. Pumpkin would be more likely, but the panda certainly would be a bit out of there, especially in that setting. Drop down arrow, that is drop down arrow. This one here. Back face culling. Aha. Nice. So is that should stop me having back faces, I'm guessing. You better tune in the last little bit or I'll shave your beard. No. You'll have to catch me first. Now if you flip it again, you can see an effect. Okay. So in theory, flipping this on and off, I should see things disappearing. If there were back faces, I'm guessing. No, they're playing the game of the panda. I like him. Yeah, the panda's definitely going to be in the game. I really mean it. No. I'll just legally buy some weeds and some Dutch, hide it in your bags for your trip home. Now that's mean. If it's on, you can flip using mesh normals, flip and see it. Ah, okay, so have it on. Go mesh normals, flip. Ah, and of course you can see it inside. Gotcha. Mesh normals, flip. It could be fun at customs. Oh, it's fun at customs anyway, Jeffrey. So just entering the UK becomes a fun task regardless. Yeah, thank you for that, Nova. I didn't know. Every stream I work with Blender, someone comes in with a great tip that I just didn't know. And that's why I enjoy doing Blender and Unity so much, because there's so many cool people drop in. No worries, thank you. But yeah, so if I resave this then and re-import this back into a Unity, not Unity, yeah, Unity, it should look a bit better. Right, we've saved that anyway. Let's go back to Unity. We'll delete the pumpkin. I know we can probably update it, but normally I have a bit of issue about that. Re-import, let's try re-import it. Be right back, Aussie food time. Okie dokie. Time to walk the dog. Okay, see you both very shortly. Got to get those animals sorted. You see, I've re-imported that and that's not made any difference, so yeah, let's delete it. Delete that from there as well. Delete. And we shall bring it back in. It's probably the safest way of doing it. I've still saved it with the camera and the lighting, which is unfortunate. But we'll when we finish playing with it, I'll delete those items off it. Don't let me want to bring it in. What's going on? Ooh. Something's not happy there. What's going on there then? So I can't drop it into the... Oh, the game's running. Silly me. There we go. We have a pumpkin. Well done, guys. Together we have a pumpkin in here now. So, what we can do, if I scale this down a little bit, because that is quite a large pumpkin. Let's look at that. Pumpkin's about the size of a door. I didn't really work to scale on that. So let's scale this down, make it probably a more reasonable sized pumpkin. And we shall move it over here. And what we should do, we go to the rock object up the top. So all these items here are rocks. I've just hidden them for now. Well, rock is in the sense that it's what I've called the item being thrown is a rock. So everything is a rock, including this chicken. I have a chicken here as well. You can't see. But we shall hide squish panda. Re-enable the barrel, so we have a barrel. Put this roughly in the same spot. And then we'll drop that inside the rock object and zero out those out for the moment. So it should be maybe I didn't I'm sure I put it on 000 in Blender, maybe not. I shall do that and re-import it in a bit though, but for now, see if we get lined up with the barrel. Cool, right. What stats do we need to carry over? Do I think we need to do anything at all, do we? So it doesn't require any tags, it's got a mesh renderer built in. Let's hide the barrel. Run the game. We should now have a pumpkin. There we go. We're now throwing a pumpkin at the castle. So as I said, the way I've built this is that you're throwing an empty object at the castle, but the child of the empty object is a physical object, which is sort of determined by the player. They can kind of swap it out. So the UI I've only put rock, crate, barrel, chair at the moment. I need to update the UI to select all the other items. But I need to change the code because it is fine for fully baked items, but these aren't fully baked. So the code won't work. Basically, what I've got, the way it works is that whatever you select, it will hide the mesh of everything else. But that the hierarchy on the unbaked items doesn't work the same, from what I can gather. So need to think about changing the code or just making sure I bake everything, which probably for performance and making things a bit smoother. Does each item have its own weight that affects damage distance? Not currently. I would like to add a difference rather than it just being a skin, because at the moment it's basically a skin. But I would like the panda to have some element of plushiness to it. And yeah, it would be nice to kind of give the player a bit of a different feel. But you know, people have mentioned that before, that they would like certain items to have a greater impact on the castle when it hits it. Like certain things would cause more damage than other things, and then those things that would cause more damage would perhaps be only available to the player later on and not on the early stages. So it becomes a reward that you can take down bigger and bigger castles, but then you have a something that hits harder and causes more damage, so it's not as tedious by that point. And once I've got the trebuchet working, I want the player to be able to apply the force as well as the direction, because at the moment it's a standardized force. You hit the space bar, force applied. So I'd like it to be more of a an analog feel to the force. And if certain things are more heavier, then it's going to have a greater gravity to it, so you'd have to apply more force to get to carry. But getting that right means you hit it and cause more damage. So there's a lot of numbers I need to think about. But I want to get once I've got the core kind of mechanic in place, I can start playing around. But that's certainly something I've been thinking about, though, Key. This always gets me. It's never can spot. It's always that window. There we go. Level complete. And it always leaves sort of suspended graphics, like a golf style game. You get UI slide that goes up and down and stop at the moment to give it. Yeah, I've not quite decided how, but yeah, it's probably something like that where sort of, yeah, because I know with golf slide it's going up and down. You hit stop and then apply. Otherwise, you need to operate it like a bow and arrow, where you kind of draw it so far and then release. But yeah, it's trying to work out how to apply that to a trebuchet, because I suppose a trebuchet, some of them will have like a tension wheel, won't they, that you kind of roll back and then pull a lever to release the tension. So I'm just thinking of what I can do to kind of fit it into the mechanics, because the model doesn't have a tension wheel. It doesn't even have a string or any, like a rope. It's a very basic model, but I like it. And I've managed to rig it, because it wasn't a rigged model. It was just a static prop. But I've rigged it now to actually operate correctly. The preview is not there. Yeah, lost the preview. But yeah, I managed to rig it. It took about 2 streams just rigging this thing up. So I rigged it wrong and I had to start again, and then worked out a way to rig it, and I've got it animated into here now. But I've just not coded in the animator, so I need to be able to code it to trigger it off. But I've got this fellow over here. I don't ever want to go down the route of complicating it by just having this guy animated, kind of pulling the tension wheel in response to the player kind of applying tension. But then I'll have to create a tension wheel, animate the character for something that would just sit on the side. But then is that added value? The player seeing this little guy stood next to here, turning a tension wheel in response to their input. But then to see that player and see where you're aiming it, you'd have to be, the camera would probably have to be about here, wouldn't you? So you see the guy pulling the tension wheel, and then you'd have your target indicator. So at the moment I've got the camera, let's go back here. The camera's sitting just above the trebuchet at the moment. But it rotates around an invisible turntable. which I would probably put the trebuchet onto. Yeah, I've got to work that out. But yeah, I think a slider, maybe a slider bar to indicate how much tension you're applying. So you can learn that, okay, this tension's too much, that tension's not enough. Apply somewhere between. I guess that's animating is an afterthought once everything's working. Yeah. Like, I've left the trebuchet as one of the last things. So I got all the code on, like, you can play the level. So I got to the point where you can play the level and all the fancy stuff's out of the way. I coded in, like, okay, tree wobble when object kind of hits object. Well, that wasn't necessary, but as a principle, I thought, well, if you're hitting a tree, it's going to wobble. And that brick wall is just me playing around with procedurally generated architecture. Which I've kind of half abandoned that idea. But I might repurpose the brick kind of layout as to have something remaining once the building's destroyed, and just kind of procedurally drop bricks in a pile. So it looks like there is something remaining of the structure you just hit. But again, I put a lot more time into this game than I originally planned. I thought, well, I want to make a silly little game, such as the stream title suggests. And I've gone, ooh, but I could do this, and I could do that. And because I didn't start this project with a scope. It was just, I know how to make objects move with a force within Unity. What can I do with that? And it's expanded. But yeah, to the point where I'm now throwing pumpkins and plush pandas at a building. But I'm quite happy with that pumpkin. That pumpkin is a tutorial pumpkin, but nonetheless, I made that. Maybe just hold button and release for power. Max power may not always be land where you want. True. I'm back, Powell. Welcome back. Hope the animals are happy. But yeah, maybe sort of, because I'm thinking it's going to be light enough, hopefully, to go on mobile. So even just like tapping and holding to kind of apply power and then releasing. And then kind of like aiming first and then applying power. Like the golf scenario, as you say, Key. Like you kind of have one thing applied first, and then the power, and then whoosh. But I do like the old golf games. I haven't played a golf game for ages. I'm assuming the mechanics are pretty similar now. Welcome back, Lisa. But yeah, so aim first, lock in the aim, and then apply power. But I want it to be reasonably quick. With especially there's 120 targets on this building, and you have to hit them all for the level to complete. So as fast and as rapid as it could go would allow the player to kind of move on to the next level. Could always make high power equal low accuracy too. True. So whether things again, it's probably trying to make the controls universal, but on the mobile, you could probably pull back and move side to side at the same time. So you kind of move to the left of the screen to aim right, and move to the right to aim left, and then further down the screen to apply power. But I'm not too sure on the mobile controls. Golf with friends is you click the mouse button and then you can drag the mouse back to mimic a club swing, club raising, and it shows how much power it is. Ooh, I have Golf with Friends installed. I've not played. Have I played? I played it once actually. I have played that once. I have to probably have to play that key and sort of see how the UI feels to that. But yeah, I want it to be reasonably rapidified because you can see how just by using keyboard controls, I got A and D for left and right, and then W and S for up and down, and then space bar for launch. Or there is on-screen controls that do exactly the same. So I've got screen controls which are a little bit painful to work with. But it works a lot faster with keyboard controls. And if I mapped it to a controller, I'm sure it'd be just as quick. Probably even quicker because if I use an analog stick to aim. It's just the power. Power is the main thing. Like movement, I can't see being an issue. It's just the power. But yeah, the click and drag. You know, it's kind of like to pull. Like again, like a bow and arrow. You're kind of pulling tension, and then when you let go, that's when it fires. So it'll possibly be like Golf with Friends. But yeah, you just kind of pull it back and let it go. I just read the new Manchester. Who is the Manchester United coach? I hate him. Oh, who's the new coach? I've not seen. Depends if they do a better job than Ten Hag. Oh, Ruud van Nistelrooy. Okay. Old PSV player. Has Nistelrooy played for Man U before? I'm pretty sure he has. My most hated club. Yes, he has. Cool. Yeah, that's probably why they got him in. He's a very next player. If there's a way to set power, then separate fire button, that would be quite rapid. Yeah. Yeah, just kind of like apply direction, power, fire, direction, power, fire. Also Madrid, but in the Netherlands he got big with PSV. Okay. Depends how much guessing power plays into gameplay. That at the moment it is very much. It's quite digital in the way it aims. Like you can see the little target moving up and down, and where that target is like a 99% guarantee that that's where the object's going to hit. So you haven't really got any guessing here. So I would like it to say what you're aiming here, but if you don't put power, it won't get there. But if you overpower it, it will go above. So yeah, I want the player to be able to try and. But maybe when you apply the power, applying the power goes up and down. Maybe. How about that? So if you put more power, the target goes up. Less power, the target goes down. So you're controlling the up and down motion with the amount of power you're applying. But then the left and right is physically with turning the trebuchet left and right. So you're having to you can't precisely aim on the vertical axis. You have to work with the power to go, okay, go. That's a thought. It's not the classic arch rival for Ajax, but there is a big hate between the clubs, and where the OG arch rival Feyenoord, Rotterdam, I weirdly have this sympathy since I just love the rivalry. PSV, I really, really, really hate. Ooh. Want them to disappear. Oh dear. That's probably the same as Chelsea, I suppose. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe apply the vertical aim via power. They are the Dutch Chelsea. Yeah, I can fully understand that then. Yeah, so left and right, and then apply power to go up and down. So left, right, power, release, go. That could work. I have to play around some UIs. So I might... Yeah, that's going to be a thing. Once I've got the animator linked... I think do they go hand in hand? Can I suppose... Because it depends where the object's coming through as to where the physics comes into play. So technically, if the object effectively comes from above the trebuchet, because this thing here is going to swing up, and that the full 12 o'clock position, the object leaves the trebuchet and goes towards there. Depending on the power, will depend whether it goes straight over it, fall to the ground before hitting it, or actually hit where you want it to hit. But the left and right would be pretty accurate, because you'd have to turn the trebuchet to get there. Yeah, that could work. You could project cursor mathematically based on launch velocity. True. Yeah, there's going to be some math involved. Weird sympathy because of love for the rivalry doesn't make me like them, of course. You ain't entering my house in a Feyenoord shirt. If you do, you're probably not leaving. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I can kind of... because this very much is... it is just a semi-transparent object with X, Y, Z applied to it based on what's the kind of that over here. So when the rotation is applied to this invisible turntable, like the axis moving left and right is applied over here. Easier for now would be just to make aim cursor a vertical line. Yeah, that's true. So you just have a line where you're kind of pointing, and then yeah, you don't necessarily know where it's going to hit until it hits, and then you have to go trial and error to go, oh, that was a bit high, need less power, or vice versa. Yep. Yeah, because I want it to be a challenge. At the moment, this isn't a challenge. Like, the current build is that, well, you know exactly where it's going to hit. The only challenge is, where do I need to hit? And it's usually this window, because you can't see the crack texture over it. But I would like to get this working. Where is it? Anchor. Is it the anchor? No, it's the anchor 01 I wanted. Yeah, the actual pivot point's not perfect on that. That's the only thing I could do with changing, because it kind of rolls rather than rotates. But we put that about there. Effectively means the object is moving from this distance here so these things are typically designed to throw things over walls. That's going to be the only problem. If you want to hit something down here, the trebuchets probably need to be a bit further back. But that probably wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. It's just you're not going to be able to see very well where it's hitting. So I'm going to have to do a bit of trial and error to see where the best place to actually put this. And that's to make the targets bigger on the building. So at the moment they are only probably about the size of this stone. So they're only really that big running across it. And trying to hit that from a distance could be a bit awkward. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit of trialing as far as getting this involved. So I think if I can use the current controls, but involving the trebuchet, and then tweak the controls so there's a power meter. Allow the player to shift trebuchet back and forth. That is something I've not considered actually, Novo. So actually draw it back a bit. Yeah, because it depends. Because I kind of thought about having it static, but if the player can basically roll up and then place it and then start firing, because they're looking at the wheels, it would suggest it can move forward and backwards. There isn't really much suggestion for it rotating on the spot, despite my my plans, but it could probably roll with a bit of force. Just got to rotate a bit. Unfortunately the wheels aren't animated. I could probably animate those, so if it does move, they move. I'll have to look up a car tutorial or something. But they are just static at the moment. But we could move the... where is the camera pivot system? So that's actually tied to the rock, but it's not actually, the rock's not actually in there. I can't remember how that works. I think the camera pivot system moves the rock, or it moves around the rock, I think. Yeah. I can't, it's been so long since I've actually written the code, I can't remember how the actual aiming system works. But there is a invisible turntable there. But we shan't play with that at the moment. But yeah, the task list is to code the animation of this, which I could probably give that a go. Got probably about half an hour left of the stream. I could try and get this reacting to the player, as in triggering the animator. Got to have it where the object moves from the trebuchet rather than from its current spot, with the static force applied currently. I might have to rework the aiming system if I'm going to stick with that. But if I'm going to do that, I might as well put the force in. Now, with a static force applied, I can build the aiming system and then make a dynamic force. Yeah, that seems to be the way to go. So, animator, move from that location, recalculate the target based on its new position and the force, and then allow the player to change the force value. Because at the moment the force value is just a standard number that I've just entered in there. But that's just literally changing a variable based on the slider. And the only other thing I was going to do actually, which I could do actually, I could actually do that today, is when the building gets destroyed, I want it to kind of sink. You know, your typical kind of thing, a building with will sink into the ground. So I want it to sink at least part way down before hiding, so it looks like it's kind of collapsing in on itself. And maybe some screen shake or something. But to do that though, the building would be, is it everything in the castle holder? Because the castle holder's got all the hills in it. I don't want the hills to disappear. Unless I make a new MT for the environment. So I can just have an environment MT and then the castle MT holder only has the castle elements, and then that's what sinks. Because it's the double wall modular and the house modular that needs to sync. So those two could probably be in their own. They could do it being in their own MT. Everything else is just environment, really. The fact I threw it all in there is just to tidy it up, but they shouldn't really be in there, I suppose. And this is just there because it looks cool. It's not actually part of the level functionally. So if I did put an empty, create an empty, just call that castle. Hopefully it's not going to be upset with that. Cool. Now, can I move both these inside here without breaking any code? That's the question. Let's do that. We'll play it, see if it still works. It appears to. The grid view could probably do with moving in there as well, because the grid view is basically the targeting area, so it's quite hard to see, but there is a invisible panel sat in front that's got a very faint green line and then one in front of the wall, but that generates a procedural grid of targets upon runtime. So when the game starts up, it will generate a load of targets in the size of the grid. So this is the same object in front of the wall and the building, and the code works out how many targets is required to fill that space. Where's where the 120 comes from. Now I could drop that inside there because it's technically part of the castle. So drop them inside that empty and see if that breaks anything. So again, I can't remember if I did any hierarchical references. No, I did absolute, that's fine. Cool. Okay, right. No, I didn't want to play the game. Stop. Right, come back out there. So that means that this object here, whoops. So if I then hide the castle, which is what I want to do. So I think the code, in the code I could just hide the castle. rather than hide it. I think I'm individually hiding everything that's tagged castle. But let's tag that as a castle as well. So I'm thinking if I hide it all, that saves another problem I have, which is sometimes these textures remain after the castle has been hidden. It kind of breaks the illusion slightly that these cracks are actually on the castle. They're not. The cracks are just in front. So that's not texture being applied to the object. It's being applied to a thin screen in front of the object. That, as far as the player is concerned, is that close enough that it is the object. And it has a trigger event that once the rock that you're throwing, or in this case the pumpkin, passes through it, it reveals the crack texture. And the crack textures are randomly selected as well. I have about four, probably 4 different crack textures currently. And you'll decide which one it's going to show. Which crack am I missing? That one there? There it is. Okay, so the code to make it hide has been broken now. That's what I was thinking. Okay. So I have to look at the code as to why that breaks. Was that there's no mesh render attached to Castle Game. Ah, gotcha. So it's looking for a mesh renderer to hide. What it should be doing is looking at the yeah. So the way I'm doing it is hiding the mesh and not the object. So what I want to do really then is to change it so the script hides the object. Let's find the, is it under castle? I think it's that one. Let's get Visual Studio open. It's the first time I've done this for a while. Been several months since I've had Visual Studio open. Well, it feels like it at least. Well, at home at least. It's open every day at work, just not at home. And of course OBS doesn't know what Visual Studio is. I'll wait for it to finish loading and remind it which window it is. It takes so long to open it. I suppose it's all the plugins and so forth. Okay, background tasks are still running, but in the meantime, let's go to Visual Studio. Tell it to use that window there. Awesome. Okay. So that's the score code. Crumble. Yeah, I need to do that still. So I might use the procedural wall generator for the crumble. Hey, turtle. And all the other many cool emotes. Pop building, that's it, pop building. Castle parts, find game objects with tag. So it's the mesh renderer that I'm unenabling the mesh renderer. But what I want to do is hide the whole object. So it's not the mesh. Get components. So is it a component of the object? It's not a component, is it? It's it is the actual visible. Is it just visible? So is it? Let's have a look. Part dot active. Depreciated. Active is depreciated. What is the current version of active then? Determines whether the game object is active in the scene. So then you've got a get on that though. Local active state, that's a get as well. Set to active. Ah. Brilliant, thank you Novo. Game object set active. Watching RuPaul's Drag Race in the meantime. Nice. Set active. Set active, there it is. With a bool. So the bool is pop. Never seen it. I don't think I've actually sat down to yeah, I've never actually watched an episode. I've seen clips of RuPaul's. So it's not, does not equal pop, so that's probably that. So rather than grabbing the mesh for that, so I could probably I like it. People are very creative. Oh yeah, yeah. It's incredible what some people can achieve with that kind of hair, makeup, and costume. But you'd want to change the tag to the parent empty game object 2. Yeah, so the parent is already tagged as castle, so that will get the parent. I forgot how you comment stuff out there. Not that. That's no. I use too many different languages. Let's do it that way. There we go. Slash slash. That's how you do it in C#. Right. So we remove those two parts. Slash slash. Thank you, Nova. Yeah, because I use VB.NET at work, C# at work, SQL Server, Python. Yeah, I don't use Java that much anymore. And they all have different notations for commenting. If you don't use it enough, you forget. So I think it's not pop. So pop will be true to say pop the building, but we want to say false to set it active. So we'll try that. See if this pops the building. Could do with some proper test conditions to work. Without me having to set everything. But it gives it a real world kind of scenario that it's playing within the game. I suppose I could manually going through. Where is it? It is inside castle. It is grid view. Yeah, I would have to manually go through every single one of these squares and set to true. Yeah, it's probably just as fun or as easy just to hit everything. I could probably do with like a UI element that allows me just to hit everything. That'll probably be a good test element that I can remove later. Because the code is there effectively to reset it all. I just need to unset. So use the same code as reset but unset it. So that's where we're testing end-game conditions now. Of course, it is fun just hitting everything. Usually bind a key to press just to call win function or something. Yeah, probably should do that. There we go. Now here's a test of it, because you can see there's some cracks on the wall. The cracks, yeah, everything is hidden. That works better. Cool. That's far better. That's actually using less code and eliminates it all in one go. Cool. So if I now fire that, that pumpkin is off. We've lost it now. It's gone. Whereas before it would have hit the invisible castle. Pumpkins away. And playing again. Of course I need to fix the play again now, because play again is bound on the to the meshes. So play again, where's play again works? So show building is unpop, basically. Reset castle. So it changes everything from hit. So this is where it's setting it all back again. Set castle hit false. Count squares that have been hit. Reset all squares. Yeah, so that resets the square. Might have to go back to UI here. What am I calling? Play again. Bring it down there. Play again, play again. Reset score, show building. Castle show building. So is that? So that should be showing the building again. So active. So it grabs all objects, castle, runs through them all, sets them all as show true. So I should be doing the same job. That's getting stuck. So setting active. Find objects with tag castle. So would it still find the object if it's not active? Should still find the object even though it's not active, surely. Or was it limited to only show active objects? I usually buy a key function. It might be worth making a variable is public game object castle, then you can assign it to in the inspector. Less brittle than finding it by tag. Okay, and just actually drop the castle in as the object. It won't. Okay. Yeah, so that's a slight flaw in that idea here. Then. So you want it to, yeah, probably want it to be available as an object in there. Yeah, I can work with that, I suppose. I can work with that. Because I suppose, especially if everything that is part of the castle is inside the castle empty here. Yeah. Yeah, now I've done this, it makes it far easier in my old method. Like the old method was just tag everything as a castle and then go through everything tagged as a castle. Like the wall, the building. But if I just hide this empty, the parent object, and everything controls that, that makes sense. So if I change it to that, because that doesn't have, that has the castle script applied to it. That has castle script applied to it. The castle hit, yeah, because they need to have the hit code applied to that, because that just basically spawns the spawns like the little crumbly bits. But they're fine. Because castle hit, so look at what castle hit does. Castle hit doesn't smoke, rotate, launch. You can also sync it by making it translate down y-axis before disappearing. Yes. Yeah, I can make the whole thing sync that way then. Yeah, that makes life a bit easier that way. So I don't know why I didn't do this before, but it's a learning experience. And castle crumble. Oh yeah, that's what I called the procedure. So castle crumble isn't actually what I'm going to make the castle crumble with, because it's not going to crumble anymore. I don't think I have it open. Hindsight, of course, yeah. But that's what I'm doing with this Nova. This is me learning through trial and error. I've done a few basic tutorial-based games, just about this is how you do this type of game, that's how you do this type of game. But I want to make something purely through idea, find out how to do it, and then learn as I go, and then go, ah, that's a better way. So when I actually come to make a game that I am planning, I go, well, this is how I need to do it, and plan it in that stage, not work it out as I go. So there are quite a few games that have been developed, is that, if we thought about that at the start, we would have coded it different, but we just have to kind of sort of make it work with that thing, and that's a bug that's inherently part of the base code, and we can't really change it now. Have to rewrite the whole thing, and then that doesn't work because that's reliant on this. So yeah, that's that could potentially be an issue. But we're learning these things now, making a silly little game, and then we make a big, serious game. We don't have these problems. In theory, there's always going to be something. Castle hit. Right, castle hit. So, is this reliant on anything that we need to be need to be aware of. So that's just... Okay, that's just taking that the castle's been hit. Make a brick spawner. Compare object to rock. No, that's fine. Castle hit doesn't need to be changed. Nothing going on with that. Castle itself. So where's the castle code applied? Is that in castle holder? It is. So castle holder probably needs to have the castle in there. So at the moment it's only got square count, square hit, which it sends back to the UI. But it also needs the castle as an object. So if we go back up to here. I suppose it can be an instantiated private. Is that correct? Because we don't want it to be used outside of the script, but we want to see it in the inspector. Does that work? Private game object. Do that. Is it I thought it's instantiate. Maybe not. Interface. No. Invoke indexer. Can't remember. I have to Google that because there's supposed to be a way of making it appear on the inspector, but making sure it's not available outside of the script itself. Show private and variable in the inspector. Yeah, make some read only during runtime. That's what we want to do. You don't want to do getter setters really. It's not that. How do we do this? I know there's just a keyword that you throw in there. Is it oh, serialized field? That's the one. Was if private to assign an inspector, you have to add on line above show inspector. Ah, okay. Gotcha. We'll try that because then we've got serialized. I have to add on the line above. So line above we can put show in inspector. It needs to be capitalized knowing C#. Is it going to like that? I don't think it wants that. Oh yeah, my bad. Serialized field, cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure about the. Has that come before? I think it's serialized field. Is it in brackets? It's in brackets. Yeah, because I've seen some tutorials that say don't use public unless you want other codes to be able to see it. But if you want to see it in the inspector, you serialize it. And it allows you to do it from there. Like the square count, square hit, I want to be able to read, like through code. So I've made those public. Although it's not supposed to matter too much, it's more of a workflow thing. Like you can make everything public if you want to, it makes no difference. Let's drag castle into there. Public is not ideal, but fine for prototyping. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to try and serialize things that I need to see, but the game doesn't, if that makes sense. So anything that is only purely there because I need to be able to read it in the inspector. Let's minimize that, we can see that again. So yeah, so the castle's now in there. So anything I put inside this castle empty will be controlled through this. So that means castle empty can be, rather than searching for it at this point, where is it? No, here. Rather than searching for it, and go castle empty dot set active not pop. So that, in theory, whether it can be grabbed or not, it's still working with that object. So we'll save that, go back to Unity, give it a play test. Yeah, that's one thing working with coding for my day job, is that I'm trying to make as many things private as possible and as modular as possible, just to kind of keep the better code standards. I know if it's only me or my boss who's reading it, it's not too much, it's not a hassle, we can work with it. But even if I'm working on a project and my boss needs to work on it later, doing those kind of things makes it easier to identify where data belongs. Like my boss would probably happily leave it open, but then someone else comes to it later and go, well, where's that data supposed to be visible? Is it purely inside that function, or is it supposed to be widely available to the entire program? But I'm trying to employ good coding standards where I can. And certainly with Unity and game dev, I would like to do the same. Oh, that's a nice run there. So the Unity physics allows you to roll objects along the side of the wall, which is quite cool. You get a few cracks at the same time. Nice, so it should disappear. And if I hit play again, it comes back. Yay, we did it Novo. And then we can play again. Cool, right, so next thing to do is to, before it pops, so we can actually, I'll leave that code in there for now, I'll clean it up later, but that's all commented out. Awesome. I'll probably have a thing that if if pop is true, move building to a set. Probably this. Would you animate it? Would you? No, it was animating. It's going to be too much. So you just want the entire thing to just kind of lower into the ground, and then you're just applying that as the is it the Y? Let's simulate that. Because it's 0, 0, 0 within the castle holder, which is fine. Because castle holder is basically everything that's unique to this level. So if it's Y, yeah, so Y needs to go into the minus. It probably only needs to go about there, to be honest, because the smoke goes up quite high, and by the time the smoke dissipates, that could be dissipated anyway. So I could have it go down to minus 4.5, but you'd want it to do so on a gradual. So I'll probably have to put it into the fixed update and just have it sync. But then upon re-showing the castle, so if pop is false, then set Y to 0. If pop is true, run like the syncing part of it. Do we have fixed update already running? We do. Count squares. So every fixed update is counting the squares and updating the UI. There's probably a more efficient way of doing so. Because you kind of want to do it so every time the squares hit, trigger off a score update. I can probably look at that later. Because as long as these two fields here are updated with the latest score information, it doesn't matter how that happens. But something needs to, because this code doesn't directly talk to the code that determines if it's been hit or not. It's literally just assessing the castle. So it's very much independent. And I don't want to drop objects inside each other as much as I can help it. Like in this instance, putting the castle in there is fine. Because that castle empty will always be a castle empty. Set a bool like is collapsing, and then in update, castle transform translate. 0 speed 0 if collapsing is true. Yeah, that's a good point. So we do want a put a make a private boolean. Is collapsing. Yeah, so that means we can whack it in there for now. Do I need to grab the can you transform it? Yeah, it is a transform, isn't it? Do I have to drop the transform into something? The speed is for alpha down to the Y to move times delta time. So it doesn't change speed by frame rates. Yeah, delta time is something that I've only briefly looked at, but I know it's quite important to make sure it's Has it got game object? Oh, it's castle empty, isn't it? It's castle empty. Dot transform. There we go. Translate 0 speed. Oops. 0. Something else. And once transform to be 0, 0, 0. Although, do we even want to? No, we don't want to do it now. Don't want to do it there. Not in the update. We'll put it into the into here though. If building pop, if not building pop, then set to 0 before we show it again. The speed is how far down Y to move times down to time. So we need to set the Y so we can reference that. This could be a float. Took me a moment to remember that. Float. Let's call it castle low. We'll set that at 4.5. So we need to move it until it hits castle low. So speed is how far down Y to move times down to time. So speed is going to be I got incredibly late. That's okay, dealer. How's it going? It's good to see you. I hope you're having a good Wednesday anyway. We stayed on a little bit later, so you by chance you've managed to get in here in time. Speed is going to be a float. Let's make that 0.0 for now. So that's going to be, it's going to have to reference castle low. To reset transform position vector dot identity, assuming that's where it starts. Okay, so we don't need to do the whole translate thing. All the zeros. May or may not have started a bonfire. Some may or may not consider legal with some people who may or may not be considered my accomplices. As long as there are no hedgehogs involved, I'm sure it's fine. And as long as no buildings go on fire. Transform position. So we make that transform dot position. equals vector 3 dot identity if I did that, we would have made sausages stored in paper cups. Interesting. Sausages in paper cups. I wonder why doesn't vector 3 shorthand for writing vector 3000. So vectors 30, cool. You don't need to translate in there. I use a very realistic non-specific AI which mimics the camera of my phone to create some photos I will send shortly in Discord. Ooh, interesting. I shall keep an eye out for that. So speed is going to be, we'll scroll up on the other chat. So how far? So I'm slightly stuck on the speed thing. So speed is how far down Y to move times delta time. We would have burned everything afterwards though, so it wouldn't be a mess to local wildfires. Ah, cool. That's fair. So that could be speed would be castle low sync rate might be a better name. Okay, so sync rate so rather than speed, sync rate, you reckon? Sync. So what is sync rate? So if castle, we go up here. So castle low is the finishing point where the castle goes to. Distance to move times down, times up down time to turn it into units for a second negatively down. So distance to move. So do you need to calculate distance to move units per second? So would it be castle low times timed up down to time? I'm tired, I'm asleep. Have a good rest of the stream. Thank you for being here, Jeffrey. Good to see you. We won't be on for too much longer. We'll be signing off shortly. I'm interested in getting this. So minus 0.5. Cool. So we go minus 0.5 times time dot delta time. and then this keeps sinking until the y is greater than or equal to castle low. In which case it's no longer collapsing. I also go to sleep. Have a great rest of your stream. Thank you, Lisa. Much appreciated. I hope you have a good rest, and I shall see you next time. Not sure if I'm streaming Friday, but I shall keep you all informed. Go Y. Castle empty. Let's transform dot position dot Y. Well, ball is true. Cool. So we need to set the ball to false once it hits the point. I learned the Metallica one starting riff. Ooh, nice. If y is less than or equal to castle there. Is collapsing equals false, not float, false. So that's your okay, so that should switch itself off once it reaches that point. We'll save the game in case we have any major upsets. Give it a test, and this will be our final test, and we will sign off for the night. Most of the time at the moment is waiting for the projectile object to hit the ground and be returned to the player. So in the interest of cleanliness and resource efficiency, that is the same pumpkin object being thrown each time. It just gets position gets reset back to the player, so it's not spawning and cleaning up after itself. But it does mean you can't have more than one pumpkin on the go, which is fine by me. Oh, we missed it, overshot. Awesome. Now will it sink? It's not sinking. Damn, what did I not do then? Did I not apply the code? Condition of position is equal a number won't usually work as it moves tiny amounts. Better to use greater than or equal than or less than or equal than. Yeah. So I thought I'd go for if y is less than or equal to castle though. Oops, we divided the f. Greater than or equal to. I also like. Oh, less than. Sorry, less than or equal to castle though. I didn't actually set it in here, did I? Silly me. That's why it didn't work. Right. Okay. One more test. So if it is, actually, if it is pop, I want to negatively do this. Else, so if it's pop, then is collapsing equals true. Might help. If not, reset back to zero. Okay. One last test, and I will make a win condition shortcut because I just love how the human model just flies because I've placed him up in the air. Start the game, he just flies into view and just lands. But yeah, once I've got all the basics down, I'll get the different projectiles, have different stats to them, like weight, sort of their kind of movement through the air maybe. And possibly, for the sake of the pumpkin, have it splat. But that requires obviously coding per object. At the moment it's a skin. It's a singular object that looks different depending on what you select. But I'll change it from skins to actually having stats. But that's a phase 2 kind of thing. Yeah, we're missing them. Not there. Not there. Ah, there. Come on, building collapse. Ah. Didn't quite work. We'll do some work on it next week. It's getting late now. Well, not getting late. It is late. But I'll do some more of this next Wednesday. We'll work on the watching the building move. But maybe it's going too fast. Maybe it kind of moves before we know. Switch over to full camera. But we made progress. Every stream we make progress. We learn more things. More awesome people help out. Thank you all for being here. We'll work out the code next week as to the optimal kind of movement. I'm happy that we got the pumpkin working as well. Got the normals sorted on that. So yeah, today we made a pumpkin, we put it into Unity, we threw it about, and we started working on the castle collapsing group sort of animation. So progress, considering it's only, well, it's nearly been a 3-hour stream, so we've done quite a bit. But thank you all for joining us today. There's been so many people here today. Thank you all for dropping in, even if it's just been for a quick hello, or whether you've just been lurking. I can see a few lurkers. You are appreciated. Thank you for being here. Thanks for the stream. No props to you. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Nova, for the help as well. Thank you, T-Man. Can't see anyone else's names, but if you have helped me today, much appreciated that. And Nix, if you're watching, I'll be speaking to you shortly. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week. I might stream on Friday. Fridays have been a non-stream day for a little while now, but I might stream on Fridays. But watch this space; it might be live. But I'm not planning at this moment. But more game dev, Blender, Unity stuff on Wednesday next week. So if you enjoy that stuff, make sure you come back for them. Cheers, no worries. Thank you, Nova. Hope you have a good rest. Enjoy the rest of your week. And at the very least, I'll be back on Monday for Stardew Valley. And back here on Wednesday for more game dev stuff. So I shall see you there. Good night.